The return. 150 million years is the time that the world has passed since the collapse of the natural ecosystem in various systems that exist in the Earth's core. Everything has been used frantically by the capitalist economic system, wars, natural disasters that occur repeatedly, and the influence of various energies in the solar system that affect the world. Until finally, the world could not resist it anymore. The disaster arrived before the scheduled time inevitably. The Earth's atmosphere was destroyed by the hands of humans themselves, the use of resources without knowing the value, the wars that each side wanted to destroy each other were the factors that urged the world to enter the Ice Age again. The 7 continents moved up to be one again near the North Pole. The whole world was like a snowball. Those who survived had to learn to adapt to this cruel environment. The remaining humans returned to live in caves again like our ancestors before. Until one day, an unexpected event happened. Something appeared in the sky full of thick fog. A bright light shone through the Earth's atmosphere and hit the ice below. The object became more prominent. It looked like a legendary spaceship that had been told before. Its slender, proportionate shape was silver in color. It made no noise, and there was no heat reaction coming from the ship. The ship landed vertically and was completely still. The 4 humans who stood watching the events that happened in front of them felt shocked and excited because they didn't think that the legendary stories that had been recorded and passed down would be true. On the day the world entered old age, in the silence on the cold ice floor, all 4 of them stared at the same spot on the spaceship. Not long after, the door of the ship slowly opened, revealing a warm blue light inside the ship. Speaking of which, the shape and size of this ship weren't that big. Looking from the outside, it was impossible to guess how the space inside the ship was divided. In the stories or in the legendary records that probably remain in our memories, spaceships from outside the world would have different forms in many ways. But no one had ever confirmed that it was clearly an evil form until now. Don't doubt it anymore because now something is starting staring with excitement. The tale of an alien neighbor's visit is about to become a reality before the 4 of them, the last humans left from the great change of the world. The figures of the visitors became clearer. There were only 3 of them. They slowly got off their vehicles. From the outside, they were not much taller than humans. Judging from the distance the humans were standing, the visitors slowly approached, getting closer little by little. In each of their hands, they held a box that looked like it was made of an unidentified metal. Finally, the humans and visitors stood face to face. The cold wind blew and brought mist continuously, as if it was a day that the nature on this earth had been waiting for a long time. No words were spoken from either side. They could only stare at each other as if they were thinking about something. In the small similarities, there were differences. Although the visitors looked very human, their eyes were green and they wore thin, tight white clothes. Other than that, they looked almost exactly like humans. Where did you come from? The first words the humans asked to the group of visitors from abroad. There was still no immediate answer. The 3 visitors turned their heads to look at each other as if they were discussing something, but not a word came out of their mouths. We came from a place far away from here. The first words from the visitors' mouths greatly puzzled the humans on Earth, who wondered how the visitors could understand and know the language to communicate with them. Or were they not really visitors from outer space? Maybe they were humans who survived on another land. We came from a very far place. We are not humans on Earth. It was as if the visitors could read the minds of the humans, so they spoke like that. From where? Do we know that place? The humans continued to ask. We do not know if you know our planet or not. We just came according to our instincts that told us to come here, the visitors explained to the humans. Then how did you understand our language of communication? We do not know, but we understand it and learn it to this world. The humans asked the question that the 4 of them wanted to know. In case they could find a proper way to escape as a precaution. We came to help you, the visitor replied to the humans. The 4 humans stared at each other again, wondering what the visitor would do to help them when there was almost nothing left in the world that could be used to survive. Even they might be the last humans left. Everything had collapsed and disappeared. With the heat and the cold, they are also waiting to die. What will the visitor do to us? Can you take us to a place where you can take shelter from the cold? One of the visitors standing at the front said. The 4 humans wondered what the visitor wanted. But the 4 of them did not say anything back. They could only turn around and lead the 3 visitors to lead them to a shelter from the brutal cold. The place where the 4 of them lived was like a cave formed by the collision of the Earth's crust and raised into a row of high mountains. Inside, there was a large and long cavity. It looked like a large and quite long hall. The humans and visitors walked through the snow for a while and arrived at the entrance of the cave. This is where we take shelter from the cold, one of the humans told the visitor. It helps us not feel too cold all the time. We also eat the animals that live in this cave as food. Even though there aren't many left, the humans continued to explain. You make a fire to relieve the cold, don't you? The visitors asked again. No, we don't make fire. We don't know how to make fire with our hands. We've only heard about it in old stories, a long time ago. The visitors looked at each other, but didn't say anything. We only have the light from the sun and the moon to give us light. We don't know how long we will survive. The humans said, bowing their heads. We've come here for a long-anticipated mission. But first, we want to teach you how to make fire, so that you can use it. The 3 visitors put down the boxes they were carrying and went to find something that could be used as fuel, such as vines, dry grass, or anything else that could still be used as bait. Soon, the 3 returned with the things they would use as fuel. One of them went to pick up 2 rocks and hit them together until sparks came out. The sparks ignited the fuel that was used. The fire was ignited, creating a spark of heat that astonished the humans. In fact, they had seen a campfire before during the great disaster on this world, but they did not know how to light a fire in the way that the visitors showed them. From now on, you must learn and practice how to light a fire on your own, the visitors told the humans again. The sound of a cold wind blew past again. Its strength was like a small storm. Everyone was still standing around the campfire that had been ignited by the 3 visitors. The fire had died down, but both the humans and the visitors were still talking. Suddenly, one of the 4 humans asked the visitors. Can you tell us what the 3 of you are doing on our planet? It was a question that the 4 of them wanted to know, to understand the purpose of the visitors from another place. The 3 visitors stood still for a moment before speaking. Well, sir, we will tell you the whole story and make you understand it. But we would like you to take us to the Blue Lake, said the visitor. The 4 humans then led the visitors out of the cave to walk to the Blue Lake, which was not far away. It is called the Blue Lake because it is a freshwater lake that is bright blue. Even though the surface on top has turned into ice, the water inside is still clearly blue. The 4 of you, listen carefully to the story we are going to tell you. More than 150 million years ago on this planet, our ancestors created a space project. The purpose of the project was to preserve the human race if the world ends in the future. Your ancestors created a project called the Return Project by extracting the cells and DNA of humans selected from animals on this planet. They packed these cells and DNA in 8 capsules and installed them on a rocket vehicle that would take the human cell and DNA and bury them on an ice planet outside your solar system called NL-8025. The mission of that spacecraft is to bury the human cell and DNA under the ice on that planet so that the human cells or DNA in animals evolved when the planet became warmer, just like the Earth did in the beginning, more than 100 million years ago. The visitor told the story to the 4 humans on Earth. If that's the case, then you. Yes. We traveled from a planet called NL-8025, and we evolved from cells and DNA that your ancestors buried hundreds of millions of years ago. The visitor continued to elaborate, which made the atmosphere around us feel hot immediately. It's impossible. You are our race that lives on different planets, right? Did the interstellar expansion really happen? If you guys hadn't come to this world, we would never have known about those stories. Because long ago, the world was destroyed for various reasons. The human said and lowered his head as if tears were going to flow down his cheeks after listening to those stories. Then how do you know that you are descended from humans? The humans continued to ask with doubt and still did not believe the story that happened. Common consciousness, memories, background are implanted into the shell and DNA of all of us. When we grow up, we will be able to remember our origins easily. Traveling to this world is one of the missions in our memories that we must do, the visitor continued in a calm and resonant voice. And what about the mission that you told us to do after you travel back to your planet? The humans asked another question that the visitors had asked. We want you to help take care of our species that we will bring to be buried on this world. At that blue lake. What? Yes, our species the humans were the human species. We must continue to survive in this universe. Do you know that you are the last 4 humans left on this world? And soon you will all die. There will be no more humans on this world. Until the world warms up again, the capsule shell and DNA that we buried will break down and continue to evolve for millions of years. The world will come back to life again. After saying that, the 3 visitors placed the iron box containing the life capsule inside. The lid of the box slowly opened, revealing a blue glow inside. The visitors carefully picked up the capsule and stared inside, just like the 4 humans who were still stunned by what they saw with their own eyes. The capsule of life had been buried under the ice surface of the blue lake. From now on, they waited for the right time to create life again. Both the visitors and the humans stood at the edge of the blue lake, staring at the place where the life capsule was buried. Before the visitor turned to speak to the humans, our mission is complete. From now on, let's leave it to time. Then what should we do? One of the humans asked. You will know when you return to the cave where you live, the visitor replied briefly. Then the 3 visitors walked away without saying anything. Where are you going? The humans continued to ask. We are going home, the visitor replied to the humans without looking back. Then they continued on to where their vehicles were parked. Soon, light appeared again, signaling that the vehicles of the visitors had started to leave this world and into the universe. The sound of the cold wind blew again, as if it was a sign of farewell from the visitors. The 4 humans walked back to the cave, the soft light from the sun still shone dimly above. They sat around the fire that the visitors had made as an example, leaving only the remains of black ashes and some dry woods. The 4 of them stared at the fire that had gone out. In their minds, they might be thinking, is this real? Everything is not an illusion that appeared in the eyes of the 4 of us. What do we have to do now that the world has nothing left for us to do? 4 humans took the ashes and mixed them with the brown soil from the cave floor until they were mixed together to some extent, then he got up and took the ashes mixed with the soil with both hands and walked straight to the west wall. He slowly and carefully drew a picture describing the events that had happened to them today, inscribed it on the wall of this cave. The 3 other humans sitting there stood up and followed the first friend. They all helped draw pictures on the cave walls because in the future, when the frozen creatures wake up, they will come across the pictures drawn inside this cave. The sun had just set, and the sparks from the collision of 2 rocks flickered every now and then. A bonfire was about to be lit on this world again.